Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. It is Thursday, February 3rd, 2021. I'm sorry, 22. I am Solid Blue Sister, and this is my turn to talk. Petty Deb, you are number one. Frankie, you're number two. Thank you both for joining. And we're going to get started. Okay. All right, we're going to get started today. And I apologize for starting late, but I am doing the show from Chicago today. So I am in the Windy City. Okay, but you weren't invited. Is it rude to bring someone along when you were the one invited to dinner, movies, play, etc.? And the person who invited you is picking up the tab. So that's what I want to talk about today. You know, is that rude? Why do people do that? Why do people bring other people to dinner or wherever? And sometimes you know it would be nice if they said, "Hey, my cousin's in town, my sister's in town, my brother, whatever. Um, do you mind if I, if they join you?" But why do people do that? And that's happened to me a couple of times, and I thought it was rude, and I told them that I did mine, and then it comes down to if the person brings someone else and you're supposed to be paying for them, are you supposed to pay for the person that they bring, or do they pay for the other person? I mean, for some people it may sound petty, but what if you are inviting someone to dinner or wherever and you just want to have, one-on-one time with them. And then this other person comes. It kind of ruins the whole mood. It kind of ruins, what you wanted to do that evening. If you had an agenda to talk to them or whatever, you pretty much can't because that other person's there. Do you excuse yourself and say, "Hey, you know what? You two go ahead and have dinner. I'll catch you later." I mean, is that rude? Um, because when things like this happen, it seems like that the person who did the inviting is the one who ends up being the rude person if they don't want the other person there. So I hope I am making sense. So, I mean, I have read so many stories, and other people have also told me about, and they've asked me, what do I do when, um, someone, I invited someone, out or whatever, and then they bring a friend with them, you know, um, I even heard it a lot when my son was younger, at birthday parties. And people would say, I invited this kid, but now mom is bringing, her other three kids with her. I mean, is that right? I mean, three extra people, that's a lot if you only plan for, so many. And, do you give these other kids party favors too? I mean, it sounds silly, but at the same time, it's like people do plan. So, what do you do when you have that unexpected guest? So, that is my question for today. Does anybody want to answer? Why do you have that unexpected guest? House is one thing, restaurant is different. Mm, I tend to disagree. So, Deb, are you saying that the house is different because I'm sorry, are you saying the restaurant is different because you're actually paying for it? Deb, you are
Is my mic
on mic.
on?
Yes, you are
Okay.
on.
Okay. Here I go again. Okay, I'm from the South. So we always make extra. We always, regardless, because we don't, we are, if somebody comes by, it's not an issue, even with party treats or anything like that. But that's because that's just how we are. We always make enough for everyone who's there. And yeah, people who drop by and things like that, then people still end up taking plates home. But that's just how we are there.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because uh Frankie says, "Sorry, Deb, I disagree," and I agree with Frankie. So, okay,
Well,
Deb, let
I know
go
how
ahead.
you feel about that. I already know.
Okay, Deb. So let me ask this. Okay, so since your home is so welcoming and you're from the South and you make extra and people can take home a plate and all the other stuff. So what happens if you invited me and I brought somebody with me that you didn't like? I mean, you really did not like this person. Are you just going to grin and bear it for the next 2 or 3 hours?
I would be cordial unless if I thought that was like a passive aggressive way to try and uh, make a point, or something like that. That's one thing. But if you knew I disliked this person and you brought them by and I didn't hate them and I knew y'all were okay, then I would be cordial. I really would be. But now in a situation like when I rented a Airbnb for my granddaughter's birthday. So I told my daughter-in-law at that time, I said, if your husband's mother come here, and I said, I'm not playing. I said, that door will slam in her face. I said, I do not like her. I do not like her. And I do not like her. And she is not welcome. Now, if she
Okay.
showed up, she wouldn't get in if she showed up.
Okay, but okay, so you are being specific there. On one hand, you're saying that you'll be cordial if someone came to your home, whatever, uninvited. But now, if there's someone that you just totally don't like, you're saying no. So let me ask this: you also said house is one thing, a restaurant is different. Are you saying a restaurant is different because you're actually paying for it? That money is actually coming out
Yes.
of your pocket?
Oh, yes. Now, if you brought somebody to a restaurant that I didn't like and then I was expected to
Well, no,
pay,
I'm not even saying you don't even like this person. The fact that you invited me and that I showed up with an unexpected guest, whether you like them or not.
okay, yeah, that would not make me happy. That, especially if I'm paying, that would not make me
But aren't
happy.
you still? But if you have people coming over to your house, you are still paying for it. I mean, when you have a barbecue or a dinner, whatever, you are planning to have X amount of people, whatever, and you still have to go out and buy things. What's the difference from again your home and restaurant? You're still paying for it.
I'm paying for it, but it is automatic anyway because my family, we just automatically just overcook. I mean, we always just overcook. So we're used to people stopping by. We used to remember, once again, I told you, about like, 15 minutes off of the plantation. So nobody was ever hungry. Anybody could stop by anytime and you wouldn't be hungry. So I was brought
Well,
up
if you're
on
15
that.
minutes off of the plantation, the slaves were hungry. So I'm just going to throw that in there.
Yeah, the slaves were hungry, but since they were hungry, they decided that anybody who came to the house, you're not gonna be hungry. No, no, no matter what
No
time it
more.
is.
I
And
know.
so,
I know. Okay, so let me go back to the restaurant thing. Okay, so you invite me, and you say you would not be happy if I showed up with an unexpected guest.
well, okay, okay, now, well, that's different too. Now, if you showed up with your husband, wouldn't be no thing. You showed up, with a family member of yours, that would not be an issue. That would not be an
But don't
issue.
you? Okay, but whether it's a family member or not, it is still rude. I
Oh,
mean,
oh,
don't I mean I mean don't you think that I should say, hey, Deb, do you mind if I bring my husband? Do you mind if I bring my sister? Do you mind if I bring my next door neighbor? I should still let you know because you don't know what the and I sincerely believe this. You don't know what a person's budget is. You don't know if I have been saving up, an entire month just to invite you out to dinner. You don't know
correct.
what you don't know, how much money people are able to spend, and that extra person that they just grit their teeth and go ahead and pay for could mean that maybe they don't eat the next day, or maybe that bill isn't paid because they are paying for that extra person. So even when you are invited out to dinner, whether you are paying for someone or not, I always think that you just, be conscious of what you're buying.
Oh,
And
yes. I mean, I understand that. I do understand that. But that's just, it's like you could, my mom, my brother, my dad, any of us. It'd be like, if it was somebody that you, any of my family. But that's just how we are because we know that what you put out there in the atmosphere comes back.
right, but I'm still saying though, whether it's put out there in the atmosphere or not, it's like if I had budgeted and said, okay, I'm going to go to this particular restaurant, and I'm going to plan on spending, just $100. I'm not going to go over that because I know the menu. I know that even if they order something on the expensive side, that even still, even with some drinks and stuff, I know that my budget will be able to handle that. But if you bring someone else, and whether they're family or not, and you go over my budget, it could mean that additional $50 that I am spending for you could have been that $50 that I was going to pay next week for my light bill. So that's why I'm saying I think that people should ask if it's okay, because a lot of times for some people it's not. And not only that, it's just, it's it's rude to bring someone, whether they're family or not. It still comes down, you don't know what people have in their pocket. You have to be aware while you're so busy saying, oh, we'll take care of it, you put it out into the atmosphere, but is that money going to come back to me the next day to pay my light bill?
When I mean it, to a lot of people it is rude. To a lot of people it's truly rude. But it really doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't bother me. I don't know. I mean, it's just, I've always been in a community where nobody was hungry. And I'm just not talking about home, but I'm talking about, throughout my past career. And nobody was hungry. It, Nobody was hungry. But yeah, I mean, people may think it's rude, but it doesn't bother me.
Okay, let me ask this. Let's say I invited you out for lunch, dinner, wherever, and you popped up with one of your friends, or whomever,
Hmm.
and you said, is it okay? And I said, no, Deb, it's not okay. I can't afford to pay for that third person. Do you think that I would be rude?
No, I would say that's okay. I got it. I'll pay for everybody.
Okay. What if I said, uh, Deb, I invited you because I wanted, just to spend some one-on-one time with you. I want to talk to you about a, few things. What do you think about that?
Okay. Okay, I know this is all hypothetical, but in in our relationship, I would not do that because I already know how you feel about that. So I would not do that.
No, I'm not saying how I feel. I'm just asking you if someone just said that. I mean, how would you? I mean, how would I mean? Is that person being rude? Or is it being rude if you brought this other person and I said, you know what, you two go ahead and have dinner, Deb. I'll catch you some other time. Do you think that's rude?
I don't think it's I personally don't think it's rude. I mean, that's what you want to do. You out. I mean, and I'll call you and I'll be like, you'll tell me, and then I'll be like, okay, my bad. I'm sorry. I won't let it happen again. And then I'll be like, well, how can I make it up? And then you will be like, just don't let it happen again. And I'll be okay, cool.
Hold on for a second. Welcome Woody Bush and welcome Juju. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and again, you personally know how I am, but I have read
Right.
so many stories, and again, other people have come to me, and they're like, "Well, how do you deal with people who I invited someone out, and and they brought this extra person, and you know they should have asked whatever." Because I do think that it is a respect thing. I do believe that it comes
Mhm.
down to, if you're inviting someone out somewhere, and I'm not talking to your house. I'm talking, where no problem, I have extra food, whatever. But you're inviting someone out somewhere, and whether or not they're picking up the tab for that extra person or not, the invite the invite was not for them. The person who was doing the invite, it was their thing. And to me, when you bring that extra person and you don't ask the person if they can come, or is it okay? You're kind of taking over, and you're ruining whatever else, whatever plans they had. And like I said, you know, when there have been people who have gone places with me, who have brought other people, and I don't mean one person, I'm talking about other people, as in more than one, and they've expected me to pick up the tab, and I'm looking at them like, no. And then all of a sudden I'm the rude one. All of a sudden the person who is doing the inviting becomes the rude one. And I'm like, well, how did that happen? So I'm just like, don't do it unless you ask permission. And again, I say, for something where somebody else is paying, you don't know what a person's budget is. So
Yes.
so it may come, you can put it out to the atmosphere, and it can come back to them. Okay, that's fine. But you're still messing with people's money. You don't know what a person's budget is. And like I said, they could have been saving up, just to ask you, do you want to go to this play? You want to go to the movies? It is my treat, whatever. It could have been something special for them, and then you bring this other person and you ruin it. So,
If it's about I mean, regardless, a lot of it's okay if people do that. It's just like I don't because I'm gonna tell you why, because I'm always expected to pay no matter where I go. I'm all well, I mean not I mean that's not true, not always, but I know that if I invite somebody out, I'll pay for them. But people who know me, just it depends on who the pop-up person is. If I pay for my daughter and her husband shows up, fine, like I said, like that. uh it just it depends. It just depends. It's situationally, it depends situationally for me situationally.
okay, so for you, it's a situational thing. So, do you believe that the person should automatically pick up the tab for this extra person?
No, that's just what I would do. I would just say I'll pay for everybody. That's just what I would do.
Okay, let me ask this. Um, and I'm going to put it on in two separate scenarios. You have a person who lives paycheck to paycheck. They invited you out to dinner. Um, you show up with this extra person. Scenario two is you have this other person who is pretty well off. Money may not be a big deal for them. You show up with this extra person. Do you think that the person who is well off should automatically pay just because that they're well off, but you still brought this person who was unexpected and uninvited?
Of course not. Of course not.
Okay, okay. And the person
No, no,
who
no.
is living paycheck to paycheck, would you? So you think that for both scenarios that you don't just bring someone that showing up
Correct.
with someone?
Right. If I bring somebody, then I know that I'm already gonna pay. And if it's a larger gathering, I'll let the person know who pretty well convinced that they're gonna pay for everybody. I'll leave the tip.
Okay, all right, all right. So now I want to ask. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. I want to ask about that plus one. Okay, so I send out invitations, and I say petty debt plus one, and you bring someone um, that that I don't care for. Do you think I have a right to tell you that I don't like your your plus one?
Uh, You know what? Yes. Yes. Yes, you do. Now, I would, well, you don't know, but I would not do that. But yes, you do have the right because it's an event that you are having, and then you invite this person over. That means they're consciously inviting this person that they know you don't like. But sometimes that's not necessarily true. Sometimes they'll meet up with somebody that they didn't know you knew. So then I think at that time I would take the person off that you invited, and I'd say, look, this plus one is not coming in here. And either you and your this plus one can leave, or I'll have both of y'all removed. The choice is yours.
Okay, all right. Years ago when Oprah still had her show, she had Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley on, and they were talking about going out to dinner with friends, and they were saying that no matter who they went out with, whether it's family, friends, whatever, people always expected them to pay. And some of them would be as Charles Barkley said, just brazen to say, you all are multimillionaires, you can afford it. And and when I was watching the show, I mean, it was funny the way he said it, but I just thought that was just so rude. That you would expect that just because somebody is a multi-millionaire or whatever, um, that you would expect people to pay. And Charles Barkley said that he you know would refuse to pay, and people would get upset with him. And I always thought that more power to you, brother, because I feel the exact same way. So would you say that he has a right, or he had a right to say no?
Of course. Of
So, but
course.
but what?
Be-
Why do you think people do? Why do you think people do that? I know it's taking advantage, but why do you think people assume that just because you have this much money, or you live in this big of a house, that I can come stay with you, or whatever? Why do you think people do that and expect to get away with it?
if I could figure that out, then I wouldn't getting used over and over and over again. I can't figure it out. I don't know. I mean, it starts with the children, and it just goes from there. My stepson, he had a very expensive vacation. It was at my expense, yeah, but it was expensive. He said he was going to move out here. Him and his wife, they get out here and they decide they didn't like it, and they were staying in my mom's house because we were going to let them buy it. Of course, the mortgage was only $600 a month. We went over there, they had bounced out. Very expensive. I don't know. Because it happens to us. I guess maybe because we can make house payments and car payments. People think we have money and they automatically think, oh, y'all can pay. Oh, y'all can pay. No, I can't pay. I got I got bills. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I can't figure
Do
it
you
out.
do you think that families should get a pass when they do that? That I mean, because I've literally had family members show up at my door. You know, you know, hey, can I stay with you for X amount of time, whatever? And I'm like, no, you can't. You just don't pop up at my house thinking that you're just going to stay. And that may seem mean to some people, but it's like you're disrupting my household. you know um uh I have to make changes, whatever. You just don't do that. And I just think, when people do that, or assume that you can afford something, or assume that they can stay somewhere, or assume that they can invite someone, I just think that is just rude. And you should ask people, is it okay? And I mean, even when my son was younger and I was invited over to a friend's house and I didn't have a babysitter, I would say, I don't have a babysitter, is it okay if I bring my son? And I said, and if it's a problem, then I won't be able to come. Some people said no problem, bring him, and some people said, well, there aren't other little kids here, blah blah blah. I prefer that he not come. It was not an issue, and then I just said, okay, I won't be able to come, and I didn't go. So
That's
again,
fine, yes.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. What
Oh,
did
I
you
said
say?
no. I said that's fine. That's not rude. That I mean, you know, it's okay. Um, but it depends. Cause see, when I had children, then I was involved with. I'm just using that as an example. Everybody I know had kids. So whenever you showed up, you brought your kids, except they would make it truly clear when you got that invitation, no kids, no kids. It was clear. So you didn't have to, you got that right up front when you got the invitation. So uh, during that time for me, but like I said, my life has been different because I've been in the military, and they're just different types of people.
Well, let me go back to the birthday party thing. When I was growing up, you know, my sister and I, we were invited to birthday parties. Um, I did not go to the birthday parties that she was invited to. She did not go to the birthday parties that I was invited to. I was never told, or my sister was never told, take your sister with you, because my sister was 2.5 years older than me. It was never where I had to hang out with my sister. Um, and I never really wanted to. And maybe that's because my mother and father were never take your sister with you type of people. Um, And my mother was very clear. Your sister has her friends, you have your friends. You don't need to hang out with them. And I don't remember going to birthday parties where someone would bring, the whole family, what have you. Now it seems like everybody is just going. And I have had, like I said, I've had people, say, up under the breath, every time I have a birthday party for so and so, she's bringing, the whole family, and I only have enough for this and I only have enough for that. And, it comes down to where you can say, well, you should just make more food, or, buy a bigger cake, or, buy more goodie bags. Yeah, you can say that. But again, you don't know what a person's budget is. So if I'm planning for 10 children, and I can only afford 10 children because I'm trying to, let my child have a nice birthday, and all of a sudden I have 20 kids show up or 15 kids show up. Um, what do you do? What do you do? I mean, is it rude to say, on the invitation, in invitee only? What do you do? Yep. Did I lose her? I think I lost Deb. Okay, so I think I lost Deb. So if anybody wanted to add into to the chat, what do you? Uh-oh. I think my can you guys hear me? Juju, can you hear me? Okay. I think. Okay, not sure what happened there. I think I lost some people. Okay. Think I'm having some sound problems here. Deb, can you hear me? Okay, you can hear me. Okay. All right. Wasn't sure what happened there. Okay, I see that you are on speaker, but I don't see you. Okay. Deb, can you go out and come back in? There we go. There we go. Okay, I see you now.
Okay, okay,
Did,
okay.
did you get any of what I was saying?
No, because it went out.
Oh, okay. Basically, I was just asking. I just went back to the birthday party. What do you do when you have, you've only, budgeted for 10 kids to show up, and, parents bring some extra children with them? What do you do?
Oh yeah, no, no, no. That's fine. I'll be like, don't bring them. If I know you always doing this, I'll be like, don't bring them.
So
You
what if
don't bring
so
them.
so what if they say, well, if I can't bring, John and Susan, then the other one can't come. The one that you invited can't come.
Be like, cool. Cause I'm like, this is gonna be one heck of a party. Cool. I don't care if your kids miss it. That's you. You're the one being simple. Parents are the one that's simple, in a situation like take a kid with you. It's okay. I'll save a cupcake for 'em. Nene gonna go over there tomorrow anyway.
I mean, but once again, I come to, why do you think people have a need? to do that? Why do you think, if you know that this birthday party is just, I just invited this one child, and again, I come back down to, and I'm sorry if I keep harping on this, but
Mm-mm.
I keep coming back to, you know, your budget. You don't know what a person's budget is. So when you're bringing these extra people, you know, you just don't know what a person's budget is.
Correct, correct. And if you're in the same circle and you know the same people gonna do the same thing, then you need to say, hey, look, you're not gonna do this that you did last time. I will. I'll be like, no, you know, no, these people are not welcome. It's either you and this one, drop your kid off, come back. I don't care what you do, but your cousin, your sister, all of them, they not welcome. I don't have a problem with that. I guess I don't have a problem with being rude. So I guess being rude is okay, I guess. If
Okay,
that's
but you know what
considered
though? But
rude.
you're okay. But I am going to say so. But when it comes to people coming over your house, you don't have a problem with it because you're saying that everybody's welcome because you always have extra food.
Right. See, birthday parties now, birthday parties for me are fine, but because I don't do, I feed trough style. Okay, so I just throw everything like in a pig trough, and they just walk go so chips, like that. So if somebody came over to my house and I disliked them, they would not be welcomed. If I had a birthday party and I knew Shanae was gonna bring all these kids, and I knew that they kids especially was bad, you're not welcome. I will let people know your child is not welcome here, because I'm not like going to let your child get away with stuff that my child didn't get away with. No, or your child still. No, my brother, he had this one little guy live down the street. He had to frisk him every time they left his house.
Well,
So
see, if you have to
no,
frisk somebody, or you're worried about somebody stealing from you every time they leave the house, and that's going to stop. There's no way I'm going to let you in my house a second time if I, think that you're, taking things from my house. But, people do have a way of, you know, either taking advantage or barging in, whether it be your home, whether it be, uh, if it's a meeting you're having. People have a way of just barging in. And a lot of people, I think, are either they're trying just to be nice and not be rude, and they'll just bite their tongue. And then they'll say something later, like, I can't believe that person just came. And, whether you're paying for the person or not, if it's not your party, if it's not your invite, you just don't show up. And if you were inviting me, if I knew that someone invited you someplace,
Mhm.
and you said, oh yeah, come on, why don't you just come along with me, I would ask you, are you sure it's okay? Did you ask if it's okay? Oh no, don't worry, just come on. I wouldn't go because I would feel uncomfortable. I would feel like that third wheel. And whether or not the person was welcoming or not, in the back of my mind, I would always be thinking, well, are they just saying that just because they have to? Or are they really sitting here saying, I wish this woman or this girl was just, why did she show up? Or why did she bring her? Whatever. So I always want to know if it's truly okay. If you got the okay that it was okay for me to come.
Yes, yes, I see your perspective. Of course, it. The only person, like I said, who would not be totally welcome would be my husband's ex-wife, and she will not be welcomed anywhere.
And
Any, yeah.
even like even for the ex-wives and the ex-husbands, you hear of stories where they just show up, and once again, it's like, you know, for something like that, it's like, are you making other people uncomfortable because you're there? But then again, there are some people who get along with people's exes, which is fine. But again, I would want to know, if I was someone's ex, uh, is it okay for me to come?
Yes, oh yes. But of course, oh yes. I'm just blessed my ex is dead. That's so I don't even
Oh,
have to
good
worry about
Lord.
that.
Okay. Too much information. Too much information.
I didn't kill him.
Well, still too much information, but but once again, I come down to whether it's your home or whether it is a restaurant or a movie or whatever. To me, you should always ask if it's okay to bring that person.
Sure, yes. I mean, now it wouldn't hurt. I would, but it okay, so I know some real slugs. It's like my son-in-law, him and my daughter, they invited us out to dinner. And so the normally the way I understand it, like if I say, well, the way I am is if I say, Lisa, let's go out to dinner, that means I'm going to pay for it. So that's since they invited us and the bill kept sitting, and then my husband was like, just forget it. So he picked up the bill and he was going to pay for it. And then my son-in-law pulled out his card and said, sir, I'll pay half. Hey, you might be able to use that technique.
Well, I mean, I have been places where it was supposed to be Dutch, and the bill came, and you know I pick it up, and to look at my half, and someone has said, saying, "Oh, thanks for picking it up," and I've said, "I'm not picking it up. I'm looking to see, you know, uh, you know, I'm looking to see my half," and they're looking at me like, "Well, damn." But if you know in advance that you're paying Dutch, then why is it a problem?
Shouldn't be. That's why everybody should have Zelle or something like that, cash or something. You can make it easy now.
Well, yeah, yeah, but there again, it's still, there are those people who, they didn't get the memo, you know.
Oh no, I mean, I understand because I have people like that I have picked up tabs for because, but the person that brought them there, they gonna pay. They know, oh, they gonna pay dearly, and they do.
Well, again, I've been places where I've said that I would pay, and other people wanted to pick it up, and I'm like, no, I'll pay, and they're like, no, I'll pick it up, whatever,
Hmm. Hmm.
but I'm always, like you said, I'm always ready to, you know to pay, you know I have been places, I've gone somewhere on vacation where I've met other people. You know how you meet people, along the way, whatever, and you talk to them, and they may say, can I share your table, whatever. And next thing I know, they're expecting you to pick up the bill, and I'm like, number one, I don't know these people, and number two, it's not like that, and I'm not paying. But once again, I come back to, why do you think people do that?
Because they don't care.
They may
They don't
not care,
care.
but it's also, I mean, it's also extremely pushy. I mean, it is. I mean, it's just an extremely pushy thing to do, you know. And it's obnoxious,
Hmm.
you know. And then when you push back on it, as I said before, you end up being the rude one. It's like, well, how did I end up being the bad guy when you're the one when you're the one who's committing the offense? But
It's
now
all
I'm
about
the bad guy because
perspective.
now I've committed an offense by telling you no.
Perspective. It's all about perspective. Because you have, I mean, if people don't stand up for themselves and speak, you know, their truth, I mean, I think it is extremely abusive when people do things like that. It can be. It can't, it's just that the person, you know, the person, you have to treat everyone as an individual. And it's like, I just think those people, they don't care. They don't, you have some people that just don't care. You expect it to because, well, just because you have that big house and you have that big car, yeah, I got big bills,
Yeah.
but people think just because you have more. But those people who think you have more, they're the ones that driving around. They have those Can-Ams and all those other toys, RVs and things like that. The ones that they expect you to pick up the tab, and they living in the trailer.
Well, you know what? You just made me think of another question. What do you think of people who um, volunteer your stuff? Well, you have that extra car that's just been sitting there. Why don't you let them borrow your car while you're in town? You have that extra bedroom. Why don't you let them stay with you? Didn't you just win the lotto? Yeah, why don't you go ahead and loan them that some money? Those people who volunteer your stuff. They don't volunteer their stuff. They volunteer your stuff because they assume that, well, when you have this, why don't you just go ahead and let them, do it? I mean, you know, don't assume.
I'm old. I'm old, so I don't I don't tolerate. If you don't assume, you don't do that, because
Whether
if you
you're old, young,
do,
or whatever, you still don't do it. Period. But
no.
people have been doing that, forever.
Yes, but I'm just talking about me though. To me, you don't do that. About people in general who do that, they're just rude. They don't care. They don't care. Plain and simple.
Well, and then, but once again, when you push back and you say no, I mean, because I don't think that if someone were to say, well, Solid, you have um, an extra car in your garage, that you never drive, whatever, and they're only going to be here, for the weekend. Instead of them renting a car, why don't you just let them drive your car? And when I say no, because I would, once again, I become the bad guy, but yet you're the one who's volunteering my stuff.
They're the ones that they're totally out of line, because in a situation like that, because a situation like that happened, and well, y'all have three cars, and well, y'all ought to let Michelle drive it. Nope.
And that's how I see it. When I first moved to California, I was renting a 3 bedroom townhouse. Very nice townhouse, and I had some people who wanted to come visit. And they said, "Well, yeah, so since you have all that room, and it's just you, and you have those 2 extra bedrooms, we'll stay with you. Not can we stay with you? Is it okay if we stay with you?" It was like they were packing their bags literally, and I said, "You're not staying with me." Well, why? Why should we pay for a hotel? That is what people told me, literally. Why should we pay for a hotel? And why shouldn't you? You're not staying with me. You just don't come and say you are staying with me. You're not staying with me. And once again, I became the bad guy. I would never assume that just because you have so much space, or you're living in a 50-bedroom mansion, the rule is, you know, you wait for the invitation. If you don't get the invitation, then you're not invited. Don't
You know,
assume.
unless you like, uh, like my daughter's godmother. I mean, when she flies out here from South Carolina, it's already known that she's going to stay because it's a known thing. So, I mean, but I know when she's coming because normally either somebody died or somebody died. So I know
But
these
but
things.
if it's but if it's a known thing, then I understand that. But I'm just saying, if
Yeah,
someone just pops up and says, "Oh, by the way, because you have this," well, then I'm coming. Well, then that's a yeah. I mean, you just don't do that. But people,
mm-mm,
people are rude.
my nephew, I don't know, he was on a bus coming out here from somewhere, and so he called me and he said, "Auntie, I'm going to be at the bus station at this time, can you come and pick me up?" I'm like, "Nope." I did nope, because he steals and he does this and he does that. I was expected to go and pick him up and let him stay here. Nope. I don't have I don't have a problem with saying no.
I don't have a problem saying no either. But the people who usually say no are usually end up being the bad guys. But the people who usually either say yes reluctantly are the ones that you hearing complaining to you later because they allow these people to invade their space. And those are the people that I don't want to hear from, because you have the opportunity to say no. And for me, I'm not going to assume that, just because I come to town and I know you have space, that I'm going to stay with you. I'm not going to assume that just because you have that third car in your garage that you and your husband are not driving, that, I'm just going to automatically have access to that car.
Correct.
No. I will always expect that, if I need to get around, rent a car, call a car service, call Uber, whatever, or walk. Take the bus, take the train. There are always other alternatives. What it is that a lot of people just don't want to have to pay for something. Juju says, my brother threw a catered birthday party for himself in a very nice club, 4 to 8 for a 4 to 8 party, all adults. People paid for their own drinks. One of my sisters brought 10 people, including 4 children. Wow. Her neighbors, they took up an entire table. My brother and everyone at the party didn't know the people. Now, see, that right there, they would
Foul.
have had to leave. I mean, I
Yes.
would have had no problem saying, I'm sorry, you were not invited, whatever. You need to go. I mean, I just think that that's just wrong. And especially when you bring, especially, when you invite people along that the host doesn't know, um, that's a problem. I mean, that right there
When
is a problem, because, there's that certain level of discomfort. And again, that's when I say, if I'm the person who's tagging along and I'm the stranger and I don't know the host, I would be a little bit uncomfortable. So I would say, you know what? I'm going to miss this one. It's not a big deal. But for some people, they can go and it's not a problem for them. But to bring 10 people,
mm-mm.
mm-mm. Let's see. My brother had hit the number for $35,000, so she thought she could bring anybody. It was invitation only, RSVP, and that's what I'm talking about. When you say hit the number, Juju, I'm assuming that you're saying playing the lotto. But one thing I would say where your brother probably went wrong was telling people. When you win lottos and what have you, you don't tell people
Okay,
because
let me
because
cut
people
in.
people automatically assume that it's okay.
In the state of Arizona, it is mandatory. It's on the books. When Janet Brewer was in office, if you win the lotto, your name is automatically released. You cannot stay anonymous. So I don't know how many other states are like that.
Well, I do know that California is working to become anonymous, and you have a lot of people who you find out that the reason why a lot of money goes unclaimed for so long. I mean, I think you have like in some places up to 90 days to claim a winning whatever, and a lot of people wait because they're literally going through attorneys to set up things where they can claim the money without having to tell people. But I think it should be an anonymous thing anyway, because people don't need to know how much money people have, because then that, to me, you become a target. And I think someone in Chicago a couple of years ago, they won the lotto, I think, for like 400,000, and someone broke into their home and they beat the man to death because they were like, where's the money? Where's the money? And they were like, we don't have it. We don't have it. And they had not been, and they didn't have it. They were getting the payout, but the payout had not come yet. So yeah. But I think where Juju's brother made the mistake was letting people know that he hit the lottery, and then again, the sister should not have taken advantage. So,
That was spite.
well, I don't know if it was necessarily
She
spite
was
because
being
you don't know what the person was doing. Let's see. Yes, people automatically think they can use you up, and this is this is a pitch. Okay. So yeah, but anyway, that's my show for today. Like I said, I am doing this in Chicago, and my Wi-Fi. I'm just looking at the bars. It's not as strong as it was when I'm usually at home. So, Petty Deb, thank you for coming onto the panel, and thank you, Crucible Man, Juju, Petty Deb, and Frankie, and I do believe Woody Bush was here. So, thank you for listening, and I will be back broadcasting on Monday. And I think I'm going to be doing an evening show next Friday. I don't know what the date is offhand, but let's see, what is Friday's date? The 11th. I do believe I will be doing an evening show, probably getting 7 o'clock Pacific time. So that will be on the serious side. So if you guys would like to join that one, but I will be posting all of my topics probably on Sunday as usual. And again, thank you guys for coming. Speak your truth, go where the wind takes you. And I hope you guys have a good weekend. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye. And I did not mean for my music to start over, but it did. And Frankie, thank you for the pod being. I appreciate it. And I'm not going to let this. Juju, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Juju. Thank you for the flowers. Finally. She did it. She did it. Thank you. Well, I like those flowers. I don't like the real flowers. I prefer the real flowers stay where they are. Thank you. All right, y'all. I'm gonna end this song early. I'll see you on Monday. Bye. Trying to get a good time where I can end the song. at some point in the whole thing, huh? Frank, you just gonna stay here with me, huh? Okay, y'all. Bye.